Hello, SuperCoach fans. Welcome to the Inner Sanctum's SuperCoach show for round 7, looking back and then looking forward, obviously, to round 8. All 4 of us back on deck this week, which is great. That should build the viewers up back from a low 60 from last week. Let's get back over 100. Mike, how are you, mate?
Yeah, going all right. Thank you, Scott. Had a better weekend this weekend, so I'm up and about.
Well, not like the Eagles, but that's all right. At least your SuperCoach side is firing. Dan, are you travelling this week after the Blues had a win?
Yeah, good on the Blues front. Mixed bag on the Supercoach front. 2 out of 4 wins. So let's do a few more race trades.
That's the way. Looking forward to them, mate. Mick, how you doing? The Bombers not so good, but how'd your Supercoach side travel?
Bombers not so good, mate. It doesn't help when you concede 6 goals to nothing in the first quarter of the game. But anyway, Supercoach, I was heading for a good score, and then I didn't take Bont's 122 as VC. I decided to go with Nick Dacos as my captain, and it cost me dearly. His 74 was nowhere near good enough. So 3 out of 4 league losses this week, and a score of, I think, about 21.80. So certainly not good enough, but room for improvement, that's for sure.
That's the way, and you notice I'm not going to mention my league results at all. There's a reason for that. We'll get stuck into our Nathans and Garys. Gary Ablett's the ones who've dominated for our team, and our Nathan Ablett's who struggled a little bit or annoyed us. So, Mike, I might throw to you first and tell us who you've got and how they went and why.
All right. Well, I've got this man as my Gary. That's good old Luke Ryan, who came out of the blocks with a 170 odd early in the season. A few people jumped on. Still not great ownership, but besides 193, everything else has been north of 120. Ever reliable, takes all the kick-ins, and is a guaranteed lock for the year. Very, very good. Luke Ryan just sort of accumulates marks and kicks all game. My Nathan is unfortunately one of the many trades I've stuffed up over the last few weeks, and that's Liam Baker. Brought him in, averaging 105, and he's gone 260s in a row. So he's on the chopping block. He's gone ski this round.
Nice one. Dan, how about you, mate? You love to. I bet you you'll give us a Nathan for sure.
Yeah, I've got to do it to the guy. Poor Will Setters. He started the season with a few really, really good scores. Mind you, Essendon was playing well at that point as well. So I don't know, maybe the two are tied together. But on the weekend, he was pretty dismal. We were looking at it, and he attended a heap of centre bounces, but just couldn't do anything. So he's got to go. So he's going to be in my raise trade later on. Find out who he's gone to, and then my Gary would have to be Rowan Marshall. He's had a couple of low games, and then he pulled out a 159 against Port. I mean, it's not like Port really had any established ruckman playing, but it was good to see him go north of 150.
Nice one. And Mick, mate, what about you? Your Garys and Nathans for this round?
My Gary would definitely be the track, Christian Petrarca, 167 for the Ds this weekend. So he was absolutely smashing it in the Ds midfield. So very happy with that output. The Nathan is this bloke, Errol Goulden. Now, last week he had 45, and I, in my infinite wisdom, traded him out. I actually had to do it.
Oh, no. Oh, well, he didn't have to do it. Looks like Goulden's
what? That's Errol's revenge.
Yeah, that's it. Oh, no, we've lost him. That's all right. He'll come back to us. All good. Swings and roundabouts. He's back,
boys. I don't know what's going on with this stupid computer. As I was saying, Goulden, I traded him out in my infinite wisdom, and he came back with about a 120 this week. So he's my Nathan, even though he scored a 120, but it's my own stupid fault, obviously, for trading him out after one bad score. But anyway.
You're really your own Nathan, really.
I'm my own Nathan. Call me Nathan I might change my name on the Zoom meeting to Nathan.
Yeah, you should. Well, my Nathan, and it's not actually anything to do with the fact that he's no good, because he's an absolute gun. But seriously, my man Dacos there, he's happy there, but he was the first time I've decided to actually put the captain on him. I haven't, just for some reason, I don't think, he can't keep this up. And so finally, you're chasing the league win last game of the round, and then bang, scores that 70. And I lost 3 leagues because he couldn't get to 100. So swings and roundabouts, but that's my Nathan for this week. I don't think we met my Nathan too many times, but that's the way it goes. Cool. We'll have a look as we do most weeks at our rookies, particularly this time of year, the ones we are thinking of getting rid of that we think they might have peaked, and also who we can target to bring in. Dan, I might start with you. Maybe a rookie or two you're looking to get rid of, and then who you might replace them with.
Yeah, so I think my rookie I'm going to get rid of this week, number 1 on the chopping block, is Fergus Green. He had a couple of good weeks. I think he scored back-to-back 70s, and he was sitting on my bench. Decided to put him on field, and he rewards me with like 29 or something like that. So I think he's gone up enough to be useful in doing a trade that goes up. He's probably the only one I'll get rid of this week. There's a couple of others that were not doing so well that had okay this week. So one of those was Connor McKenna was all right with 70, and Darcy Wilmot was okay with 63. So yeah, sort of those would be the ones. And then yeah, I'll have to think about a few others.
No worries. What about you, Mike? A rookie or two you're thinking of chopping this week, maybe, and who you might look to bring in?
Yeah, I'm with Dan, and Green's probably on the chopping block for me, but also Dan, you might keep Darcy Wilmot. I think he's next to go. He's not really getting your scores much above 60. So he's definite one for mine. I probably held on for him a bit too long, but he's been a bench player at best. Who to bring in? I think I'm going to follow the rest of the SuperCoach and bring in Kim Jota from the Blues. Mind you, I think I could have scored 100 points on Saturday night against my mob. So, at least he'll go up in price. He may not score that again, but at least he'll go up in price. So that'll be a trade I'll be making this weekend to make a bit more cash.
I might throw it back to you, Dan. You're the Carlton man. What do you reckon he's? I know everyone's going to be on him. You think his job security is worth getting through a few weeks at least to make some money?
I think he will. I mean, if you looked at who came back in for us, we had Doherty and Sard coming back in. Cowan was the one that probably is the one that's missing out for him at the moment. And from what I saw, I think Shinkoda at least gets another 1 or 2 weeks. He looked better. He's a more mature player, so I think Cowan will be back at some stage. But I think Shinkoda's got a couple of weeks at least with his good efforts over the last 2.
No worries. That's enough for me to bring him in. If the Carlton man says he'll keep his spot, that's enough for me. What about you, Mick? Any other rookies? Maybe someone different who you might think it's time to go, and some other options for the people out there to bring in?
Yeah, definitely. Mateus Philippou, I did hold on until this week, and he churned out a huge 20 this week. So he is 100% on the chopping block and out the door. I've already made that decision with a break even of 84. I think that's pretty much a no-brainer. Probably not that many others, I don't think. Ginby's getting close after only a 39. He's break even 61 and he's averaging 65, so he's thereabouts. I think I might hold on to him for another week because it just doesn't suit my strategy of who I want to bring in. But Philippou, yeah, gone out the door.
No worries. Well, I'm yeah. If West Coast didn't have so many injuries, I think Ginby would surely be given a rest. I think he's maybe starting to struggle a bit. Like you said, the 39. I think he's probably the next one to go for me as well. Oscar Baker's the other one. He's just gets. So he's sort of getting that 60 to 70 most weeks. I don't know. He's 273,000 at the moment. I think he could probably get to 300,000, and then that might do. Being a Geelong man, a few people have asked me today. Sam Simpson's job securities on the bubble, 166,000, break even at minus 43. I would probably, if you need someone. And you're desperate to make a trade and downgrade, and you're happy to go with someone 166k, then maybe you go with him. He's a mid/forward, but I just, he's a midfielder, and they're playing him in the forward line. I just don't see him playing. Once Stengel's back and a couple others, maybe. I think he's probably the first one to lose his spot, even though he's been okay. So I'd probably advise against it, but I've been wrong many times before. So who knows? Dan, any others you reckon? Any other rookies we could look at bringing in? I know you were keen on one left field one.
I was, yeah. Just one that is a bit of a throwback to the, what was it, 2017 Adelaide grand final team. Rory Atkins, he was a star back then with the blonde hair. Playing at Gold Coast, he's played his first game for the year and scored an 89 at 200,000. It's not bad. And I just think that with Took out, they probably need a bit more maturity in there. I think he's probably safe for a few weeks, and they're playing good footy and they won. So I think all of those things help his job security. So he might be one. Obviously, he's only played one game. Give him another one, and then you'll see. Yeah, see how he goes. If he might pull out of 40, and it might be the worst trade ever.
One to keep an eye on for next week. Yeah, 200 plus thousand. You'd want them to play a few games for sure to get you enough cash. So one to think about for sure. What I thought we might look at this week for something different is just some left field sort of targets we could aim for, and by sort of a few points of difference. So we're looking at people who are sort of owned by 5% or less of sides and who are performing really well. So just a few different ones if people don't like the same old players out there that everyone has. I might start with you, Mike. There's a few out there. Who would you suggest for those people out there who like something a bit different?
Yeah, we spoke a little bit about last week about Stephen Cornelio. I think 20% of sides actually brought him in on the weekend. I know I did. But I think one to maybe look for is Tom Liberatore, only 3.8% ownership. He's actually the 7th ranked overall by averaging 118 in and under Bull champion data. They love their contested possessions. So he may be one out of left field that could be a point of difference.
Yeah, I reckon he's certainly benefited from no Josh Dunkley as well. So I reckon I'm surprised he's only at 3.8 given his scoring so far this year. Dan, what about you? I reckon there's one I reckon you're going to talk about, some less than sort of 5% ownership. Who are you looking at?
So I think we were talking about him a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about Walsh last week, I think.
Yeah, maybe.
But I actually like your you've got down on yours, so I might steal him. But I like the idea of Will Powell. I think that's a good one. I actually had him last year, and I picked him for a big jump, and he scored a few hundreds, and then he had that disgusting injury where I don't know, his half his leg went one way and the other half went the other way. So I think he could be worth it. He's what is he at? 0.2% ownership, around average 112. The only thing you got to play off is the fact that Gold Coast has been playing some decent footy in those 3 weeks, and can they keep that up is the other question with that. If you've got the ball in your hands, you're scoring points. If you don't, you're not scoring it. That's plain and simple. So I know, always one to look out for in bottom 8 sides or bottom 10 sides.
Mick, what about you, mate? Any others sort of not owned by many that we might look to bring in?
This bloke doesn't quite qualify because he's in 5.1% of owners of teams. But Sam Walsh, 3 games back now from his injury, and he's churned out a 104, a 130, and a 117. So that's pretty good, consistent scoring since he's come back. He's priced at 612, so it's pretty high. But if he's going to keep churning out those sort of numbers, then I think it could be worth it. And the other one who's become a fallen premium as such is Darcy Parish as well, who's also scoring really well. He's dropped about 60k in price now, so he's down to around 550. But he's also averaging about 107, 108, and he's just been a good consistent scorer for the Bombers this year. So and ownership of only around I was looking before about 3%. So he's definitely a really interesting pod to consider bringing into your team this week, I think.
No, yeah, nice one. Couple from me. I'm surprised more people don't have Adam Sard, to be honest. He's a 5th ranked defender by average, and only 4% of people own him. So averaging 107, I'm surprised more haven't jumped on board. Seems like he's taken all Doherty's points, it feels like. And then the other one, I'm going to talk him up because I've talked him down for 6 weeks, but my man, Andy Brayshaw. So he's He's, he's only averaging 90 and he's lost $105,000 so far, but it's going to turn. This week is the time. You watch. He's going to score. He's going to average 120 from here on out. If I say
What did he score for you on the weekend?
what did he score? He had 30 touches and 2 goals, so you'd think he'd score 150, but no, only the 98. So that's okay.
They got the Hawks.
It doesn't matter. He's going to average 120 from here on out. You've heard it here first. If I say it enough, it'll happen. Cool. So there's just a few different points of difference for you if you're looking for people who are not in everyone's side. Speaking of fallen premiums and Mr. Brayshaw, we might just touch on a few others just for a bit of a gas bag about some that were such stars last year and seem to have really dropped off, and maybe the reasons why and whether we think they might be worth bringing in at this point. Dan, I might start with you. Give us someone who's just dropped way off from compared to last year and what your thoughts are on them.
Yeah. Look, I think the one that I have noticed the most is Callum Mills. So last year he was absolutely phenomenal. Ranked number 7 in the midfield last year with an average of 115.1. Had an absolutely great season, and he was one of the few Swans that could probably hold his head high at the end in that grand final, or at least higher than the others. And yeah, look, he's currently number 34 within ranked in midfield with an average of 97.4. I think he only scored about 80 odd on the weekend. I don't really know. I think he's sort of been playing that mixed midfield back wing role. He's just been thrown around everywhere, so that's not helping him. So I think he's one to watch. Like if he starts getting more centre bounce attendances, jump on, because he's that good. He'll start scoring well again. But at the moment, Horse is not using him well for SuperCoach.
Yeah, I travelled down to watch them play against the Cats last week or the week before, and he played fullback on Tom Hawkins for most of the game. I was like, geez, they were a bit short on numbers down back, so I understand that. But given their slide as well, you'd think that he might chuck him back where he actually dominated last year. So yeah, definitely one to watch. If he ends up back in that midfield, and you want to pay a bit less for someone, definitely be jumping on. Mike, what about you, mate? A fallen premium that might surprise you compared to last year and worth jumping on potentially, maybe?
Yeah, I think I've got to watch on my man Paddy Cripps. He's been up and down. He's been my Gary one week, my Nathan the next. He's dropped 50k. Again, against the Witches' hats on the weekend, it does inflate things with his 150 plus. He has still averaged 121 when Walsh back in the side, but he's churned out. That drop in price has come from about 3 scores below 100. So it'd be interesting to see some continuity and playing some better teams, what that score looks like over the next few weeks. But I don't know about Cripps. He's so hot and cold. He doesn't give you that consistency that you're really looking for in a primo mid. So you can't just sort of bank 120 and move on with him. It's either 150 or 80.
Yeah, I did. I heard you mention that he's averaging 121 with Walsh in the side. He only averages about 110 without him in the side. So interesting that he's averaging 10 more or 11 more with Walsh next to him. So you would have thought it'd be the other way around. So maybe with Walsh in the side, he's worth having a punt on. Mick, what about you, mate? Any primos that have just dropped right off and worth chatting about?
Yeah, the two jacks from St Kilda are interesting ones, actually. Sinclair, as a defender, started the season at 626k, and now he's down at 540, so he's dropped 85 grand. He's still averaging 101.1, so he's still, one of our top sort of 7 or 8 defenders, and at that kind of a price, we know what he was capable of last season. So he's only gone under 100 twice out of his 7 games, and one was a 90. The 63 against Essendon was probably a bit of a blip in the radar. So he's one, and then Jack Steele came back from injury last week and only had a pretty quiet game against Carlton, but then he's got a 126 this week against Port, so looks like he might be back to his old scoring ways. And he's also a pretty bargain basement price at 537, I think, considering that he was one of the top probably 3 or 4 midfielders last year and the year before. So yeah, he's still got to break even at 125, but to see what he does this week, and then maybe look at bringing him in next week at that sort of 530, 525, 530k range. I think it could pay dividends.
Yeah, I had Steely to start the season, and when he went down, he was out the door. But obviously, he started 600,000 plus, so he must have the ability to score that high. So maybe those scores are coming back from injury. Just a couple from me. Sam Doherty's been talked about quite a few times on our podcast here. Not sure what's going on there, but do any three of you see him turning it around? He was the number 3 ranked defender. This year he's currently the 30th ranked defender. Dan, maybe you. Do you see Dockers turning around? You're the Carlton man.
Look, I do, and the reason is we had. Well, of course I do. Come on, got to look at the bright side because anyway, it's been a tough few years. I've got to look at the bright side with it. I think Doherty does turn it around. I think the reason why he turns it around is the same reason why Cripps scored better. Is that when Walsh is in the team, the whole team plays a little bit better. And I think because he moves as well. So he goes from being in that sort of weird hybrid midfield role to being a little bit more halfback. I think that's where he's at his best. So yeah, I think he does turn it around. Hold off though. I'm not sure his break even is this week, but give him maybe one more week. I don't know how you get back in 2 weeks or 3 weeks from whatever supposed knee injury he had. The Tom Stewart elixir of knee repair. I don't know how he gets back, but far out. We'll see.
Yeah. Another one maybe is that's just a strange one, along with the Swans. Really, is Isaac Heaney, who was just almost a must-have forward last year, 5th highest ranked forward, and currently the 27th ranked forward, and just averaging 15, nearly less than last year. Just a strange one. Either of you guys watched enough Swans games to know what's going on? Would you care to share maybe what's going on? That's how much we're watching the Swans.
Must admit, I haven't watched a lot of Swans games. Scott, you're the one that's seen them up close, but they're so decimated in injury. It's sort of hard to get a read because horses shuffling them all around to try and fill different slots there. I don't know. I'd be interested to see what time he's spending in the midfield compared to last year. When he started to rack up the clearances and contested possessions.
Yeah, the game last week, they were just crying out to win some centre clearances against Geelong, and for whatever reason, he was hardly in there. So just sat across half forward and always had a couple on him and just struggled. So I think he will and truly play in the middle. He's big enough and strong enough, so I'm not sure why. But that's why they're the coaches and we're just four guys who think we know what we're talking about.
Well, I don't know. I question that as well. Like the weird one is, I suppose, you look who's taking his minutes, and it's probably Chad Warner's seeing a few more centre bounce attendances. And like you said, not winning it out of the midfield, change something up because it's whatever they're doing is not working, especially over the last few weeks.
Exactly right. A few there to watch. We might touch on a couple of those next week and just see how they went this week. Next week as well, we'll also have a chat about our best and worst trades we've done this season to date. So something for us to laugh at and look forward to next week. Couple of things to finish off, Dan. Traditional rage trade corner. Previous people we've rage traded, just for those out there joining us for the first time. Lockie Ash, Bailey Dale, James Warple, Mitch Duncan. My God, I don't know why you had him. And who's our one for this week, mate?
Gonna have to go Will Setterfield. My Nathan. I know that the chopping block didn't work for Mick last week, and so maybe he'll be hoping that Setters turns it around and scores a big 130 or something this week. I think who have they got? They got someone half decent. I think.
Port, yeah.
Yeah, Port. No, we're safe. We're safe. All right. So Setters is gone, and he's going to score another 30 points. I think who I'm going to bring in for him is a proven, tried and tested defender. Actually, is Tom Stewart. So I think that'll be an okay trade, but who knows? I might have to rage trade him out like I did Duncan.
Nice one. All right, just to finish up, just any last words, maybe captain thoughts for this week and anything else you're looking forward to for round 8. Mike, I'll start with you.
Yeah, look, I said last week that my tactic was all around making some cash and getting in a few downgrades last week. I think I used another one of my boosts. I'll be looking probably something similar this week, but there are a few players that we've spoken about who are primed to sort of pick up. Tom Stewart's obviously one. I do like the look of Steelo, but again, I'm burning through trades like there's no tomorrow. So, and I am on the cusp of that's a top 8 in a couple of my leagues, so I better watch out. So maybe just hold, bring in Kinchota to make a couple 100,000 off one of those mid-priced ones, and maybe try and restrain myself from anything else. I think more.
Yeah, no worries. Mick, what about you, mate? What are you looking at for round 8 heading forward?
Trade-wise, it'll be Setterfield and Philippou out, and I've only got about 10k in the kitty, so it'll give me about 670, 680. So Chincotta, and then I can bring in a 580 price midfielder, which there are a few choices this week, actually. I had
Brayshaw.
Scouring. Yeah, Brayshaw. Yeah, no, he's much cheaper than that. There's a few options out there, so that'll be something I'll need to toss up between the next few days. Captaincy choice, it'll be Petrarca into Bontempelli or English, I think. Pretty safe bet. Anyone who has Petrarca or Oliver out there, they've got the 4:35 game on Saturday, and then the doggies the 7:25 game. So make sure you keep a keen eye on those games, as they're quite close running into one another. If you're going to be loopholing games that are that close together, just keep an eye on it and make sure you don't miss out on your loophole, as I did last week.
Oh dear. Dan, what about you, mate? Round 8, what are we looking at?
Yeah, look, I think as I said, Setterfield out for Tom Stewart, and to do that, I need to get a bit of cash. So I think my other one was going to be Fergus Green out, and still looking around for who that player in might be. I might roll the dice with Atkins. I don't know. There's not that many out there that I don't have at the moment. I brought in Chincotta off one game again, and that worked. Yeah, I will say though that it kind of a little bit backfired with Seamus Mitchell getting subbed off, even though he was actually playing some decent footy. Subbed off early in the third quarter for about 41 points or something. So I don't really know what was going on there, Sam Mitchell. Please explain. And then the other thing, I just think looking at captains, going to go with the vice captain on Lachie Neale on the Friday night game against us. I think he could absolutely tear us up. So I think he's done it before, and we don't learn from our mistakes. So I think he's could score 170. And then the other one is I'm going to go your boy, Nick Dacos. I'm going to say that he doesn't play 2 bad games in a row. I'm going to say that Horse won't learn his lesson. And who have they got to play him anyway? Half the team's out. So I don't know. I think he could get hold of them at the tee.
Nice one. Well, just for maybe something for a bit left field, I reckon if you look at your vice captain, at least if you can, playing against West Coast or North Melbourne. Toronto scored 140 plus the last 2 weeks, and they're playing West Coast at the G on the Saturday afternoon. So he might be one. Him or Walsh, I reckon I'm going to have a crack at the vice captain. And then if that doesn't fail, I'll probably have to go English, I guess, or Brayshaw for my captain. Who I'm bringing out, mate? I've got. I could want to bring out half the side. Seriously, I can tell how many people scored less than 40 on my side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then I've got a couple in the 40s. So it is slim pickings. The rookies are all struggled last week. I have Johnson from Freo I brought in, and he got suspended for a couple of weeks as well. Ralston was a sub. Philippou stunk it up. Kinby struggling. Michael Lanny struggling. Oh, the whole side struggling. So just going to rage trade all of them, get another 3 in, and away we go. All good. Thanks, boys, for joining us. Thanks to you guys out there who keep watching. Appreciate it. And we'll see you all next week for some more fun discussion about our SuperCoach sides. Cheers.